Nerds International proudly presents
Alpine, the fourth realm of Earth, a world of fantasy adventure awaiting your imagination.
Warp Shell, a universe in ruin. Countless heroic tales waiting to be weaved through space and time.
Ghost Mountain, a place caught between heaven and hell, filled with fireside tales of the Wild West. These are the worlds of Index Card RPG, and this is a podcast about those worlds.
Before we get into this episode of Threats, Treats, and Timers, I would like to sincerely apologize for the absolutely atrocious audio quality of this episode. Windows decided to go ahead and do an update. Actually, I said it was okay for it to do the update, which everything is normally cool. Somehow it went in and changed my recording settings down to one channel, 8-bit, 8,000 hertz, which is like literally the lowest quality that you can have on your deal. Normally I record at a much higher rate. I don't know how this happened, but there was some kind of weird audio portion to the update, and for whatever reason, it changed the recording levels on my Windows properties down to like nothing. So that's what happened. Of course, I didn't realize it until I went back to edit the podcast, and here we are with you guys having to put up with this just utter tripe of a show. I almost canned it, but it's been a while since we put one out, and I thought, what the hell? You know, if you can live with it, if not, just turn it off and be on your merry way. Sorry about that. On with the show.
Welcome to the Threats, Treats, and Timers podcast, episode 13. Unlucky 13, I'm thinking. This is going to be a dog show, Victor. We're going to just BS our way right through this bad boy. I am one of your hosts, Gary, a.k.a. the Murder Hobo, and I'm here as always with none other than Victor Diaz, a.k.a. Ezra Hard, the man, the myth, the legend. What's happening, Victor? How have you been, man?
It is the holiday season, and you and I seem to be grinding it at both ends and being fought by the internet, our computers, the tax folks, work, and everything else in between. Between the cars screwing up and our computers, I don't think we're going to get anything done on this show.
It's so funny because people don't see the behind-the-scenes stuff, and ever since we started podcasting, every time we get together, your audio is just not working. And then you finally buy a new mic. We had a nice little stretch where we had no problems, and then today it's 50 minutes of me staring at you going, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. It's so funny because it's always you, except for this time. This time it's me, and I'm so sure that it's not you that I just sat here and stared at you, staring at the screen.
I would hope not. In the last, since I've started doing podcasts and started doing games more online and all that other stuff, I think I've put like $1,000 of upgrades between a new computer, new microphone, new headset, old headset. But I think that's the only thing that's left. I should shut up. Things are going to start to break if I keep doing this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Threats, Treats, and Timers podcast. This is episode 13. We're going to be talking about the forums, and all the great forums. Loving it so far. There's some really good stuff happening in there, Gary.
I've been trying to keep up with it, but you know what? I'm so used to going to Google Plus that I keep forgetting that I need to go here. Like I said before, it's one of the nice parts about MeWE is you got all of that stuff all in sort of one group. I tell you what I did do on the December 28th is the last day of my Facebook account. Ixday on the Facebook gay. It's gone, and Messenger's gone. I've killed my Google Plus. I don't know if you know this or not, but Google Plus was supposed to go belly up in 9 months, and now Google Plus is going belly up in 3 months. Turns out last week or the week before, they had an API leak, and there was access to 52.5 million people's account information and stuff. They say that nobody got hit, but yeah, that's just like unreal what's happening over there.
When that stuff happens and you're part of that whole mess, you've got to start hitting, the password resets and start making sure that your accounts and everything else online and offline are not getting hit or tagged in any kind of weird way. It sucks that we have to live in a world where we have to keep that up. But not being paranoid, just trying to be safe, because trust me, if you've ever gotten hit like that, they can take you for everything under the sun and put up all kinds of things against you, for you, and they're definitely not on your side. So if you guys are a part of that, taking care of that. But I will tell you, just today, Gary, I hit the same button you did on Google+. I deleted my account for Google+. It's going to be gone. I'm hoping it's going to be an April Fool's joke, but unfortunately, all those forums are closed, and the Ezra Harden Victor Diaz is no longer a Google+ account holder. So everybody's going to have to go looking for me. I am on the forums.runehammer.online forums a lot because, of course, we do the wonderful podcast for ICRPG, and you can find me on MeWe. I have all my pages and all of my Google+ stuff converted over to those. So if you're looking for me, you know where to find me.
Do you feel bad that you've pulled your G+ Google? Do you feel like you lost a baby or something?
You know what? I actually set it all up, and I let the button sit there for like 5 minutes before I actually hit it. I had to really think about it. I had to go through and what's happened in the last, golly, I've had a Google+ account for a long time. And there's been a lot of good gamers. I mean, met you, Frank, Hankerin. I mean, the list goes on and on. Half of experimental games, I've either encountered you, found you, or you found me, and we've had babies ever since. So it was really an experience to be able to go through that and just literally wipe that off the face of the planet. But you know what? Life goes on, man. Life goes on whether I like it or not. Whether I'm here, whether I'm not here. You guys are going to continue. People are going to continue playing games, and hopefully we can teach them something along the way. I'm just glad to be a part of the wave, man. I'm glad to ride that wave and have some fun, and hopefully we can continue doing so in the MeWe forums. I think that's a really good platform. The more I play with it and the more I look at it, the more bells and whistles that they add to it. I think it's really cool. Just recently, they started a beta. Speaking of the MeWe forums, they started a beta for voice and video chat using the chat feature in MeWe, and I think it's really cool. I haven't tried it personally. If anybody has any experience with us, hit us up. Find us on one of the forums in MeWe and let us know what you think about it.
Yeah. The one thing that I would like to see is, because we're part of the Nerds International collective group, it would be nice to have our show under their header instead of having everybody in separate groups. So basically what I have to do is I have to get everybody from the Nerds International group to subscribe to my group as well. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like this sort of weird back and forth where I share everything. I got to share it to all these different groups and stuff. And it was nice before when I could just drop it into the Nerds International under the Nerds or the Murder Hobo Show heading.
And it would go crazy after that.
Be done. Yeah, it's just from there it takes care of itself. I do really like the share feature that they have, because when you share, if it goes from your group to another group, it's perfect across the board. Like when you share on Google+, you would always have to put in your extra information in that shared group. So, anyways, I have been neglecting the ICRPG forums because it's been such a hotbed.
Sorry.
Of don't worry, that was just my chin. It sounded like you punched me in the head. I've been neglecting ICRPG because Savage Worlds Adventure Edition has kept me so busy the last little while. It's been off the hook. Like, we've been trying to learn as much as we can about it. It affects basically every game that we play, which is hundreds of different sort of genres and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But man, just wait till you start reading it, Victor. You're gonna love it. There's some super cool stuff in there that's just gonna blow your mind.
Everybody that's talked about it so far, from Savage Worlds to Savage Worlds, I mean, literally around the planet, I've had people asking questions. For those of you who don't know, I'm known as also the Savage Rifter on our other podcast show for Savage Rifts, and we have been discussing this back and forth. I've been getting a lot of information from people on the changes, on powers, how there's no charisma. And the list goes on and on. There's probably 100 changes, if not more than that, and how those are going to impact not just, all the other worlds that we play in, because I play a Savage Eberron game, I play a Rippers game, there's a regular old school D&D game that we use for Savage Worlds, there's the Last Parsec. I mean, there's probably half a dozen games, not including Savage Rifts, that I use the Savage Worlds system for. So I'm really looking forward to sit down over the holidays, over my vacation time, and play through that, read through that, and see what kind of changes come to the game. Plus, I was telling the editors and the writers of the Savage Worlds Savage Rifts edition that's coming up, the next 3 books in a few months. If they don't write it, the Savage Rifts community will write it. The conversion document on how to get it into the new Savage Rifts, into the new rules.
Mm-hmm. As far as character creation and stuff goes, there is some significant changes, less or less skill points, and a few other things. But man, when you look at it and you take a step back and you look at it as a whole, it is a shimmering pile of deliciousness. Yeah, it's good.
You're drooling, Gary. You're drooling.
It's kept me busy because of the Wild Eye podcast and stuff like that. I sort of have to pay attention to what's going on there, so I know. And there's 95% of what is in there is modified in some way. So it's almost like relearning the entire system. But
it's a whole new game. Yeah, I've been getting the same feedback from a lot of people. It's like learning a whole new game, a whole new Savage Worlds. It still has the same flavor. It's just better. Everything is better. So I'm looking forward to really digging into it.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing. I don't know if you've seen my post on with my tabletop simulator maps, but I was reading Blue Sword Games, and one of the things that it said in there when I was reading it is like, please feel free to use this however you want. The more people that have access to my stuff, the better. If you want to use it for like limited commercial use, he's like, go ahead and use it. My stuff I've always wanted to put it out so that anybody can have access to it. I'm like,
that's cool.
Yeah. So he's just basically said, if you subscribe to my Patreon, if you can give me $1, if not, you can still use my stuff, which is really nice. And so I've released all of the maps that I did. I released the Rifts map. I did this Beastland map. I don't know if you saw that one. There's a little 3-minute video on YouTube. And all of the other maps, the Pyramid, the Ruins, and there's a couple other ones. I think I put about 7 new maps that I've done with him on TTS that are now all available. So I've been working on that a little bit.
Is that big old map collection that you had on the table that one day where you showed me like there was like 20 maps or something?
Yeah.
In your one world, right?
Yep. I added 7 more maps to it.
Dude, that is one. Do you want to talk about one killer play set? I can almost play just about any game I am running right now just using that TTS play set.
I was checking out SketchUp that you were talking to me about, and that looks really interesting. I need to sit down and spend some time messing around with that, because if I could throw his map in there and manipulate which part of the images come up and down, there would be no more cutting and pasting parts of the pictures out inside GIMP.
Yeah, you see what I mean now, right? When you talk about SketchUp and you push and pull models, and you can create those large blocks for steps and caves and bridges and buildings, basic building blocks. Then you just import those models with the textures from the maps. And Bob's your uncle, you have your own custom 3D table.
Yeah, it would literally be one item, and that's it. Like, it would be one object, the entire table.
Yeah, exactly, and it'd be done, right? And it would be even easier for you to be able to use the same object and rehash it. Like, if you put one city up, it could look like an old District 9 sci-fi, ghetto. And that same building, you can rehash them with different skins, like a Gothic architecture, and same model, 2 different maps. And it cuts down on your triangles, it cuts down on your all the math that the computer's doing while you're busy playing the game. I think it'll solve a lot of your problems, but I just want you to do the maps so I can use them.
Watched a SketchUp guy make a bag of chips, and
dude,
the video is maybe 5 minutes long, and you could literally export that into an object inside the game. It looks pretty neat. Okay, so that said, now that we've been rambling and talking about stuff, let's get over to, there's not going to be any news. We're just going to get right into it, because we're talking about stuff that's happening on the forums. We're going to discuss some of the things that have been coming up. And I got a little bit of a funny story to tell you when we get into there. So let's hit the news section.
Okay, everybody, this one's dedicated to the old country, where I used to sip on bourbon all day, slay goblins, and get some sweet loot. It's called Walking Through Alfheim. Come on. Walking through Alfheim, getting to know a wilder kind, looking for a purpose in a tavern side. I would YOLO status, never looking behind. Yeah! Woo! Alzheimer's, buddy. Woo! Shit! Where's the whiskey?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Channel 13 News. Today on the news, we have forums.runehammer.online. That's where you guys need to go if you guys have been paying attention. Runehammer's own online forums, and they are boss. So one of the guys on the forums, his name's Nixter. He's the guy who's responsible for putting all this together. He took a discourse open software setup for forums, and he's created a beauty of a beast. This is like Google on steroids. I'm absolutely loving it.
I've played with it a little bit. There's certain things that I think are phenomenal, and I don't have anything bad to say about it at all. I like how everything has that sort of Google look to it.
Yep.
It's the artwork is all Hankerin's, which makes it even that. I really wish Hankerin would start doing some battle maps, because I've seen a couple of things of his where he sort of has that. I want to say it's like Borderlands, sort of the way that he colors things in sometimes.
Yes.
And
yes. I totally agree with you. I had the privilege of playing with Hankerin at RingCon in Tucson, Arizona earlier this year. And I was sitting there at the table in his room while he was prepping for a game that was going to happen. And he had about 45, 50 minutes before the guys were going to start showing up. And he didn't have a battle mat. So he's like, I don't have a map for this game. Oh, wait a minute. So he pulls out a ChessX, wet erase map. We all have them. And he lays that out on the table, the big one. And he gets out a couple of Sharpies. He's like, all right, time me. Ready? Go. In 40 or so minutes, literally in about 40, 42 minutes, I think it was, he redrew by hand the dungeons for the one that he's playing right now with his group.
Oh, you're talking about Gauntlgrim.
Yes, he redrew the Gauntlgrim map on a ChessX wet erase board in about 40 minutes while having a conversation with me while doing it. I was just sitting there like watching the lines go down, and I'm like, wow, this is what you call talent. And yeah, he's got some serious talent. I would love to see him do battle mats.
There's a guy that I follow, or that I'm a Patreon of. His name is Marshall, and he's this guy. He's Printable Heroes online. He's the guy that does all the paper miniatures with the beautiful artwork.
Yeah, I know Printable Heroes. I love his stuff.
Okay, so he and this other guy, I'll look it up here in a second while you're commenting on it, did this Kickstarter where they create things like buildings, like so it's top down, you're looking down at them, but I think they're printed on plastic or something like that. And so you can have like barrels and the tops of houses and cities and carts and all that stuff. And it's all done in Marshall's artwork, Printable Heroes artwork. And you can buy, I think they're called tabletop tokens. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going to look it up right now. Have you seen those?
Yeah, yes, I have seen those. I think those are cut out of vinyl though, right? They're not cut out of they're not printed on paper. They're printed on like a plastic, like a thick plastic. They're bendable. But yeah, you can just slap those on the table. And he's got like cemeteries and crypts and crosses and the top, like you said, the top-down view of houses and trees and lots of other fun little bits and pieces that I think pretty much make up the stable of a lot of the fantasy stuff that we redraw over and over and over again when we draw those handmade maps. But his are kind of cool because they are already all full color, they have shading and everything on it. I really, really like them. I was very intrigued by that. I had seen something similar where they had taken the spell effects, like a line, a cone, a circular blast, that kind of stuff, and they had used a clear film and printed on it. So it was kind of transparent, and you could lay it on the table, and it does the same thing, but they were spell effects for wizards and magic, for clerics and stuff like that. I thought that was really neat, too. I don't remember the name of that one. They were out of California. They had a Kickstarter very recently. But that kind of stuff is really, really handy for a lot, especially if you're, of course, playing at the table with people in front of you. Saves you the time of having to hand draw that.
Yeah, well, that's what made me think of it, because you can literally just place these things onto your vinyl battle mat, like your ChessX printable mat. They have all sorts of different kinds. Like they have a camping set, castle furniture. There's a siege kit that has cannons and stuff like that. But the best part about it is, if you go to the Kickstarter, which is it's over and done now, you can have access to, I think, all of the new kits, but you can print them yourself. So they won't be on the cool looking vinyl that sticks a little bit, but they will be on, you could make them on cardstock just like I do normally, which is kind of cool. So $15, and I don't remember exactly how it worked out or how many I got, but those things are pretty sweet, man. I was rather impressed, and it got 200% funded today, so hopefully I'll get my PDFs in the next little while, and I can start printing some of these bad boys off. They'll look cool.
That'll look awesome with your paper miniatures too, because the artwork is going to be the same style, same artist.
Yeah, all that on my. Oh man, I had a horror story with my. I have a 40 or 50-inch TV that I use for a battle mat, and it has. I spent $140 putting like an anti-glare coating, like you would put on your cell phone on top of it. And as soon as I finished doing that, like a week later, the TV went into this weird test mode where it would just show like straight colors, green, blue, red. So I've been dealing with it for the last maybe 2 months, and then I was on vacation and some other stuff and whatnot. So I haven't actually had a chance to sit around and fart around with it. Here's the funny part about it. So I go to play. I hook the TV up, and for like an hour, this thing cycles, and then finally the picture comes up. So,
my God!
I decided, I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to bite the bullet on this anti-glare screen cover and just throw this entire TV away. You can get these TVs from Walmart, Scepter 50-inch TVs for $230.
God, a 50-inch? That's 50 inches, right?
And it's in 4K.
Wow!
So when you look at it, it is fantastic. When you're playing Fantasy Grounds or you're just projecting an image onto the 4K, you don't need a powerful video card. You only need powerful video cards for 4K if you're doing 3D gaming. But just to render an image, you can have like super sharp clarity in a 4K image. So I've been doing that. I lay my TV flat. I hook up Fantasy Grounds through my monitor or my laptop, and I just HDMI cable it in, and away I go. Well, here's the funny part. I ordered a new TV because I'm like, this one's done. And then I thought to myself, when did I buy this TV? Turns out I bought it January 1st of this year. So the warranty
is still good.
Yeah, it expires at the end of this month. So I hustled my ass off the last couple of weeks, and I got the stupid TV shipped down to America, down to California where this place is at, and they fixed it. And I just got the notification today that they're going to send it back. So now I'm going to have 2 4K 50-inch TVs. Oh,
wow. Man. You could always put those in front of you, Gary, and use them as a pair of monitors for your computer.
Well, I got a 43 right now that I'm using in front of me, and I got my 22 on the one side, and the one I showed you earlier is this one's 43. And at 43 4K as a desktop, because I don't really play video games anymore, I just mostly do online gaming. And I got to tell you, man, one 43-inch monitor, 3-4 feet in 4K, I have so much desktop. I have 5 windows open right now, because you can in 4K. In 4K you can have 1920 by 1080 open 4 times, one in each corner,
and all laid out, right, spread out in front of you,
and sharp as a tack, man. It's pretty sweet. So so that actually worked out well. I was pretty happy.
My son just got one of his. He's been spending some money that he's been saving, and he bought himself a really nice supercomputer. Yeah, it's a couple grand. But anyways, he just got his monitor in yesterday, and we plugged it in, and it's a, it's a 24-inch, 144 hertz monitor for a NVIDIA GeForce 2080 Ti. High-end card. This is like butter. It's like I can reach to the screen and touch people. It is looking so good, and I can't imagine what that's like on a 4K TV at 40-something inches.
Well, he should have no problem plugging that thing into a 4K TV. That 2080 Ti.
Yep.
So the last one, the last one was a 1080 Ti, and that was the card to have. But that card was worth $1,000. But the price has started to drop out of video cards again. It's coming back down. So.
Yeah.
And then they came out with that 2080. Wow, nice. Now I'm jealous. So, all right, well.
He hasn't put it up together yet, just the monitor. He's waiting for the other parts either way. But speaking of virtual tabletops, I had seen on the Runehammer forums that Kriba was talking about, he was playing with Roll20, And he didn't like how complicated it was. And, not everybody is as computer savvy or as VTT savvy as a lot of us who've been playing games for a little bit on Roll20 or Fantasy Grounds or otherwise. So he came up with a really novel idea, and I had heard about this once before in the past, but I never really looked into it, even though I've used the software for what it's for. He talked about using Google Slides to run a game online. And for a minute there, I was like, no, you can't do that. And then the light bulb hit me and goes, why not? You can import pictures, import tokens, you can scale them, you can layer them on top of each other. The only thing you can't do is lock them down. But as long as it's only the GM that's presenting, who cares? You're the only one with the mouse control. Everyone else can chat in, and you can leave notes, just like you're doing a PowerPoint presentation, as you're giving descriptions or copying and pasting from your descriptions either way. I think it's a really novel idea. So he took it one step further, and he said he was going to code up a dice roller that you can use as a plugin for Google Slides. I think that's genius. By the way, Kriba, good job, man. That's talk about going the extra mile there. I have you bookmarked, and I'm all over that because it's like so no-brainer. It's so simple.
That's very interesting. So he's just basically projecting an image, and then what is he using for voice or whatever? He uses a service?
Discord, Hangouts, whatever he wants. Technically, you could use Discord on one side, use the chat window to do in-character chat or voice chat or whatever, to do your big monologues as a DM or, monster descriptions or dice rolling. And you can use Google Slides and just share that with the people that you're playing with. And, it's Google Slides is the Google version of PowerPoint. So if you've ever used PowerPoint, you get these large, 11 by 17 frames of paper, and you can put words and pictures and colors and import stuff. You can lay something on the background like you would a battle mat, and then you can import pictures of tokens and copy and paste it as many times as your computer has memory. And it's really lightweight. It's fairly straightforward. There's not a lot of complicated things you need to use with it. I look at it as a poor man's version of Tabletop Simulator. The only thing you can't do is pivot to a 3D, but it's just a top-down view. And that's all VTTs are. I think it's just genius because you can set up, your 4 or 5 encounters and have 5 decks. Your deck is 5 big cards, and each card's going to be a map, a battle map or a world map or whatever. And you just, set up your monsters or your tokens for your characters on a separate form that you can copy and paste them into, or on a separate card deck in there. And you can shuffle them all you want and paste them and move them around, scale them, big trees, small trees. And it's really, really simple. It's a really, really simple way to do it.
Yeah, that is interesting. And then you just hook up to his Google slide presentation through the internet, and away you go.
Yeah, he sends out an invitation just like you would for Google Docs or Google Sheets. If you want to share a document, you send it and give them the link. And even if it's open to the public, unless you know the exact link to go to, no one can come in on your game. Besides, 3 or 4 or 5 people on, one Google Slides, I've had almost 40 on a Google Doc, and it's never even stuttered. I think it's genius if you're looking for a free, no-nonsense, really easy way to get started into DMing online. I highly recommend it. I went through and I just put together one quick little battle map, and I had a couple of tokens, I had a couple of monsters, I took a couple of just tokens and other things I have from other artworks and other folders and stuff because I have a big collection of them online. I just copy and pasted them into Google Slides, imported the battle mat, the background, like a forest background, and it took me longer to find the tokens that I wanted, but honestly, 10, 15 minutes, and I had a battle mat in front of me. I think in an hour, I could probably prep an entire night's worth of battle map encounters and even have a couple extras on the side just for backup.
Yeah. Do you know the guy that did Dungeon World with the pink hair? He's from Vancouver. I can't remember what his name is off the top of my head, but he's the Roll20 guy. And he's the co-author of Dungeon World, and he's this guy
Adam
from Vancouver.
Coble or
That's Adam
Coble. Yeah, he's a big online gamer.
Yeah, he got a job working for Roll20 a couple of years ago, and I because he's from Vancouver, and I found out that he was the author of Dungeon World, I started following him a little bit, and I've watched him play. And this relates to the slides thing because, and especially ICRPG, because inside of ICRPG you don't really need to have the map. Like, you can do small images through Theater of the Mind, and you just put your token on, like Hank's done the video. Here's the goblin, the pile of goblins. This is where you are fighting these goblins, and here's a picture of the gate, and somebody's over here. So you don't even actually have to like find maps. You just, like you said, throw up a forest scene in the background or a wallpaper of forest, and then you drop in your goblin card, and you drop in whatever else, your gate or whatever, and away you go from there, because the rest of it...
I totally agree with you. I think Adam and Hankerin use Photoshop so naturally, because that's their tool of choice. They're both artists and digital artists in that way, and they're used to using that type of software. But you could easily do the same thing with Google Slides. Like you said, take a picture of the forest from Europe or something, just a vacation shot that someone has, and put it up there and say you're in the deep dark forest, and just play using visual aids, not even using a battle map, using visual aids in Theater of the Mind. I do that with the guys at my table that I play with. There's like 6 or 7 guys that we get a game at least once or twice a month, and we play in a library where we have a large big screen TV on one side, a marker board on the other side of the room, and a big table in the middle of us. And there's many times I've thrown up pictures of PCs or NPCs up on the board, a picture of a castle, or even a galaxy or a starship, and it's just a color 3D picture or a view or whatever. There's no battle map, there's no grids, there's no nothing like that. And we play a lot of Theater of the Mind. And I just put it up there because it kind of changes the view of the characters, of the players, as they're in the game. Really makes a big difference, and that's a really good thought. You can easily do it with Google Slides. That's what it's made for. It's made for a presentation, as presentation software in business meetings is typically what it's used for. But I just never thought about using it that way. I thought it was really great idea for him to come up with it.
That is pretty cool. So can you, if you were to put like a POG of your character on Google Slides, you could move it around and it would move on the other people's ends as well?
Yep. You're presenting and they see everything you put on there. If you put a big old banner that says your name across the top, or Monster, or Castle Greyhawk, or whatever you want to call it, and you can scale them, you can make them bigger or smaller, so it's probably best to use maps without grids, and that is possible. In ICRPG does it really great, the banana length and all that other stuff. But if you need a giant wolf, you can take the small wolf token and just take the frame that appears around it when you select it and pull it and make it bigger, and you'll get a big old 6-inch base versus the 1-inch base that the models will have. And you can I believe you can also edit the size of the map to pretty much as much memory as your computer can hold. So you can do 6 foot by 6 foot map. You could literally be pulling and pushing the map all over the place. Honestly, take a second, go to slides.google.com and just take 2 minutes to go through it, and you'll see how easy it is to be able to use it. But the fact that he coded up a quick dice roller as a plugin to be able to use while he's still in that game, I think that's pretty smart. I really, really was impressed by the idea, and I hope he runs with it. Kriba, if you're listening, drop us a line and let us know how that's going.
Okay, that's really cool. So I'm looking at the list of topics that you wanted to cover. What are these archetype cards that you're talking about here?
Okay, so once again, Kriba's hitting out of the park. He's on a double-double here. He took Matthew Colville's Quick Start cards, which he took a bunch of characters from D&D, and he created these archetype cards that show different fantasy-type characters, their gears, their weapons, the suggested races, and then also little bits of advice, some quick 1 or 2 bullet points on how to play that archetype. So Kriba, of course, he takes it one step further, right? And he managed to put together a nice little Google Doc that has the Guardian, the Blade, the Shadow, the Scout, the Priest, the Archer, the Mage, the Commander, and the Wildling, which are all the basic classes for Alfheim. And he made these cards. I believe they're 5 by 7. They're a little bit bigger than regular index cards. But what's really neat about them is that each one of them has the stats on where you should put, like your first stat and your second stat in terms of priority. So here, let's go through the first card that I saw. And the first one's called the Guardian. So the Guardian, it says stats. And the first priority should be Constitution. Because, he's a defender. He needs to have a high Constitution so he can have those hit points. And then under stats, for second priority, he has Strength. Not only do you need to be able to take a hit, you need to, give one back every once in a while. So that gives beginner characters or people who are looking into other classes that they've never played before, kind of an idea of what the priorities of that class are. On another section of the same card, and this is all one page, about a half sheet, I believe, he has their bioforms, which race should you pick? And he gives a suggestion. If you pick a dwarf, and these are your bonuses. If you decide to pick an elf or a hill folk or something else, these are your bonuses. So it kind of gives you an idea, a quick snapshot of what to choose as a bioform or a recommended bioform. There's another section that says how to play, and he just gives a quick description on, what you should be doing, defending your friends, trying to keep them off the archer, protect the wizard and the priest or the mage, because those are the ones that are going to be all the blasters that can't take a hit. You don't have to be in the front line, but, if you need to, you can fight with the best of them. He goes on to show what their starting gear might be, a special idea or saying, and then, of course, examples for starting weapons. Since all of that is very basic when you create an Alfheim character or any kind of fantasy character using ICRPG, there's a lot of variations that he's added into each one of those. So the Guardian will start out with a halberd. The Blade will start out with a spear, so on and so forth. I think it's really, really cool, and the format is just sick. Really nice black and white marble format in the background.
Yeah, I'm checking them out right now. It's very simplistic. I tried to download the PNG thing, but this is like some kind of a weird thumbnail. It's not big enough right now. 974 by 771, so I think I have to go to his Google Docs and check it out. But I see what you're getting at. That's really neat. He's got some beautiful artwork, and archetypes are like this. They're becoming big inside of Savage Worlds. So I like this idea because I really like Savage Worlds, and it's the kind of cool thing where if you're not quite sure what you want to play, you can be like, everybody knows if you're a role player, what the classes are. Your fighter, your mage, your thief, and your priest kind of a thing, right? And then everything sort of gets broken down from sort of those four main ones into subsections, because you can have your fighter guy that can be a tank, or he can be melee DPS, or a little mix of both kind of a thing. So that's pretty neat.
It is. It's pretty cool. I think it would be great running at a con, and you have some people who want to try ICRPG, but they don't know where to go or where to begin, or especially if they're younger or they're inexperienced with these type of role-playing games, because there's hundreds and one variations of the system. You can easily print these up and say, here's some choices, scatter them on the table. They'll see the picture, they'll take a quick little 1 second, 2 second to read how to play or special item or bioform, and they're like, oh yeah, the archer. Yeah, magic ammo and rope and hook and a longbow. Yeah, that sounds cool. I like playing an elf. I'll do that one. And you can just go from there. You could probably play right off of the card if you're familiar with ICRPG enough. Even if you're not, it's a great place to hand them that. And the flip side is a blank character sheet. And I was thinking about printing these up, putting them on cardstock with the blank character sheet on the other side, and just giving them out at cons and saying, hey, want to play ICRPG? And here they are, and this is how you would do it. I think it's a really neat idea. I know there was a lot of people who really liked Matthew Colville's ideas on his Quick Start cards for Dungeons & Dragons. If you don't know who Matthew Colville is, look him up on YouTube. Really awesome YouTuber. Great discussion points on them. And he did one on the Barbarian, the Bard, the Cleric, all the classic D&D classes, very, very similar, but using the D20 system. Well, this is the ICRPG version. And once again, Kriba, just knocking it out of the park, man. Whatever you're doing, whatever drink you're drinking, take a couple extra. We need some more of these. These are some really great ideas that a lot of us, I think, have thought about doing, but we just haven't had the time or the inclination to get to them.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Warp Shell version of that. Right?
Subtle hint, Kriba, subtle hint. We would like to see Warp Shell archetype cards. Yeah, most definitely. I am totally going to steal that idea for my new World Primer Chimera that's going to be coming out the next couple of months, hopefully. I'm going to steal that idea so I can use that as starting characters to be able to show everybody what the archetypes are for that World Primer. I think it'll answer a lot of questions really quickly.
Mm-hmm. A couple of weeks ago, you showed me the primer book that you printed off. And the PDF came out for Savage Worlds, and I went to the Barnes & Noble's Nook thing thinking that I would print it off, and I'm still waiting for my book to come out of review. How long does it take?
Dude, normally I only wait like 2 or 3 days, maybe a week at the most.
Okay, so
and what they're doing is they're looking to see if you're printing off stuff that is X-rated or is, there's pornographic or there's, savagery, blood, that kind of stuff. They want to make sure that it's okay for you to be able to print it legally. Also, copyright, trademark, that kind of stuff. Usually, if you're just printing a one-off for yourself, they're not going to question you. I've got like half a dozen books I printed of different stuff that's all
copyrighted or trademark stuff like, the different books I had or the world primers for ICRPG. But I actually just put together a 6x9 copy of the Savage Worlds Adventure Edition, and I submitted it to the press so I could print my own copy. So I
that's what I was just trying to get pumped out. I had to edit all the PDF sizes and stuff like that, but I did I think 6x9 or 7x10. I can't remember which one it is, and I submitted it all with the cover sheets and the suede binder because we're not going to have it until January, I think.
Yeah, no, I can't wait. Yeah,
and,
I can't wait that long. We're not going to have the PDF till January. We won't have the physical book until next summer.
Yeah, exactly, right? So I'd like to have that physical book. I can toss it around the table and introduce my players slowly and steadily into the world, the changes for the new world. You should have said
something, and we probably could have saved each other time and just done it all together and put in an order for a couple of the books. Well, I've ordered I think I've ordered a dozen books at a time, and they haven't questioned me on what I'm doing with them or where I'm going with them. Of course, if I was a real publisher, I'd be ordering, 1,000, 10,000 copies or whatever. So they're not going to worry about little 12 copies that plus they make a couple $100 off me. So I'm not complaining. If you guys haven't checked it out or you guys didn't listen to our last podcast, shame on you. But if you're listening now, great. Go to press.barnesandnobles.com. You're able to use them as a third-party printing, printer like Lulu. You submit your PDF, and if it meets the qualifications for the sizes and all the right colors, all the fonts are included, and all that other fun stuff, you can print your own books. Absolutely having a blast making my own game books, my own world primers. Ezra Hardin's Incomplete Collection. I have a 450-page Bible sitting on my desk right now with that on there. So that's been a lot of fun to have at my desk and to write on and to just look at for different games that we're playing. But try that out if you haven't gone there. Press.barnesandnoble.com. It's a pretty cool little site, and I really, really like it. Really professional printing. Some of the best I've seen in the market, and it's really easy to go through. What did you think about it?
Well, my first foray into it, like I said, once you just sort of follow the steps, you do have to know a few things, like your PDF needs to meet certain size requirements. So if you choose to print 7x9, they'll tell you that you have to reorganize your PDF into a 7x9 deal. So there was a lot of sort of going back and forth with that. Once I figured out how to do it, I found a video online about how to resize PDFs. That was super easy. I did all that. It takes literally maybe 5-10 minutes of farting around to get the sizes right. And then you upload it and put your cover page on, your back page. They build the binder for you, or the spine for you. It was really easy. I was just curious to know how long it would take for them to put it in.
It probably takes their staff a little while to go through it. But I've gotten a couple of books back from them. Let me rephrase that. I've gotten more than a half a dozen books back from them. Multiple times I've printed them, every single one of them. Absolute quality printing, quality color. You can get a gloss finish. You can get a flat finish, softback. It's perfect bound softback. You can get a hardback. You can get a case and all kinds of different sizes. From I think the smallest they'll do is 5.5 by 8.5, or no, they'll do the small pocket novel soft paperback. That's what I'm trying to say. They'll do the soft paperback version all the way up to a big, I think, coffee table book, like 11 by 17. But I do like 5.5 by 8.5, 6 by 9, 7 by 10, and on average, I'm probably paying maybe $9 to $12, depending on hardback, softback, and the number of pages. So a good example for everybody: 450 pages, color, 70-pound paper, softback and matte, cost me, I think, $14. That's dirt cheap.
Yeah, that is. Mine, the PDF is, I think, a little less than 200 pages. No, it was 205. Yeah. 205 pages without the cover, and I think I paid $7 and change, almost $8, closer to $8, but yeah. Craziness, man.
And there's a myriad of. I could go on and on printing your own books at home. I've done so many of them now. I've gotten so many ideas on what I want to do. It's just a matter of time. But if you've ever used Adobe Acrobat, or if you have Acrobat license or any kind of PDF creation software, you can find all kinds of it on the internet. Just poke around. It's probably a good thing to do if you're a GM or you've been doing it for a while. So check that out. J.D. Sterling, one of my fellow Oathsworn, he created a beginner-friendly one-shot for Blood and Snow. If you haven't picked up Blood and Snow, Drive-Thru RPG has a copy waiting for you right now. Absolutely phenomenal work by Runehammer. Hankerin himself wrote this one up. I got a chance to play test that in Tucson earlier this year.
Absolutely loved it. J.D. Sterling wrote up a quick one-shot for it, and here's the description. The boon of the summer hunt is shadowed by the death of the chief who fell in a sword-tooth attack. The speaker of the tribe has read signs that tell of a long tale of famine if the chief's ashes are not among the ancestors by the time the night's eye is fully open. You must travel from your mountain home through the deep forest and into the heart of the marsh to the ancestor stone to protect the future of your people. Dude, what more can you say? Just J.D. Sterling's putting out some intense stuff. He's got a couple of people. He looks like he's going to game with Lackins and Slingstone, possibly even a few others from the forum. So check that out. Friday the 13th at 6 p.m. Pacific. He's going to be on Roll20. You never know. He might even take a few to watch the game. If I wasn't already busy, JD, I would definitely join in on that game because Blood and Snow is my new favorite.
What do you got going on this weekend? Christmas parties.
Yeah, I got a Christmas party on Friday. My kids are taking me out for my birthday on Saturday. We have my daughter is going to have her 16 in May of this year, and Sundays have been nonstop back and forth from church and party planning and Bible study, and we're Catholic, so there's a lot involved in that whole process of her becoming a young lady. So it's gonna be a busy few months, and the holiday season isn't helping.
Now that you've mentioned that you're Catholic, I never thought to ask you if you're a religious soul. Not that it makes a difference, but I just started thinking. I'm like, have I ever said anything stupid about religion before? Like I really have to.
No, I'm not really that. I'm Catholic. Being Latino, you can't not help be Catholic. It's part of the nature of the culture. But no, I'm totally open to it. I'm totally okay with it. You have to learn to be able to make fun of yourself in a good way, right? I mean, life's too short to worry about that kind of stuff. It's not something that I get hung up on. I've always had the ideal that I believe what I believe. You believe what you believe. That's just what it comes down to. It doesn't matter what everyone else thinks, regardless of whether you like it or don't. Just the way I am. Just the way I've always been. That's the way my parents raised me. They said, you're going to be Catholic. You're going to do all your sacraments.
You're going to do this. You're going to do that. Well, you're doing it well, buddy.
We were little, but I got married in the church, so it is what it is. There's nothing wrong with it. I absolutely love it.
Cool. Destiny and Warhammer 40K World Primers.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys have not been paying it on the forums.runehammer.com website, you guys need to go check out ICRPG Destiny. Nicholas Bonenberger, and I hope I didn't butcher your name, but I probably did. Runehammer, Werbin Holderheck, myself, Angelo, a half dozen other people have been sitting here going back and forth talking about Destiny, the ICRPG World Primer. Yes, I'm talking about the video game, Destiny. So if you guys haven't checked that out, go and check that out. Absolutely awesome discussions we're having on everything from sparrows to ghosts. I put together a little document called Destiny, the World Primer. I've been working on it on and off for a couple of months, and I found that hiding out in the lower bowels of my Google Drive, and I shared it with everybody. We've been talking about dice pools called light, or point pools that you can use for different powers called light pools, how you can control your ghosts and give it powers and milestones, and they have shells and jumping and movement, and it's just been an awesome, fun ride. I'm really having a lot about this game.
That's interesting, and I'm just scrolling through the walls of text and stuff like that, and I'm reading these names and imagining how badly these guys are going to hate the both of us for pronouncing their names so horribly.
Yeah, I'm apologizing right now. I think Big Grump, and that's because he spells it in English.
Yeah, Werbin Holderheck and Nicholas Bonenberger. That's literally how I would read them in English. And then you have the smart guy who just put in his first name, Angelo. God
forbid. Scotty Roberts. Love that name.
Oh, my God. That's too funny.
Yeah, but we've been talking about Destiny a little bit, going back and forth. We've had some mixed results, some mixed discussions about, my ideas and other things. But, hey, it's a game. It's just, it's there for fun. Everybody does what they like, and do what works on your table. And if you can steal some ideas from somebody else and the people at your table like it, great, go for it. If they don't like it, throw it out and rewrite it. That's what I do all the time. I've got 101 things posted on the Runehammer forums. Ezra Hardin's collection is ever-growing Incomplete Works just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Seems like every other month. Another one that we've been talking about besides Destiny is the Warhammer 40K Universe Primer, because it's too big to just pick one world. Warhammer 40K is a miniature war game that has been around for since the early 80s. I've been a big fan of it for a long, long time. I like the role-playing games. I like the whole Gothic, and there's only war kind of idea. I have a whole bunch of models sitting in the table, so I've been a big fan for many, many years. Someone had already beat me to the punch about building a Warhammer 40K role-playing game using the D20 system for Dungeons and Dragons. So, as most gamers do, I stole adamantly, and I give him some credit in the World Primer, but I posted it up there for everybody else to see. It's another one of those books that's incomplete that I've been adding my little ideas and things that happened on the table of a couple of games that we played once and we never got back to, and I'm hoping everybody else likes that. But yeah, we've been talking about those games going back and forth. If you haven't already, go take a look on the forum's website, and there's 101 documents for different World Primers sitting out.
So I gotta say, before the forums were actually up and running, I was seriously racking my brain as to how that they were going to put Runehammer forums on Discord. I'm like, I have never seen any forum on Discord. I was expecting wall of text in the chat room, and I'm like, and then I just figured it out today. They didn't say Discord; they said discourse.
Yeah. Discourse is an open piece of software that developers can use to be able to create these type of forums. And looks like one of the admins for Runehammers, Nixter, is his call sign here on the forums. He's the one who's been the admin, putting all the magic and the bells and whistles and all the beautiful forums that it is, all the great artwork that's up there. So big shout out to Nixter, man. But that it is a piece of work.
Yeah, it's really nice. I got to swing by here more often, but like I said, with such a heavy focus on Savage Worlds Adventure Edition coming out, I've had to. Yeah. I only have so much time. I'm human.
Yeah, God forbid we actually have to work jobs to be able to keep our gaming lives alive, right? Keep them going. Yeah, Nixter and I have been having a conversation going back in discourse use and making forums, and as everybody knows, I have like half a dozen other Google Plus forums that I run besides Savage Rifts. There's bullet journals for game masters. I'm putting one together for Chimera. There's the Savage Rifts. There's the Freedom Squadron, the Mecha Hack. I think that's all of them so far. And he's been talking about putting together some forums like we did for Runehammer, doing the same thing for bullet journals and for Chimera, maybe for Savage Rifts. So there's a couple other ones. So I may be doing the same thing. You guys may be seeing these kind of forums out for those other kind of boards and kind of taking me off of MeWe and following them that way. I think it'll be interesting. We'll see how far the dollar stretches on that.
Yeah, MeWe actually took another sort of a big jump too. Speaking of MeWe again, I don't know if you know this or not, but Tumblr, which is like a Twitter kind of a deal, they are going. They're going away from not safe for work, which is the way they used to be. I guess you could, put nudity and stuff on Tumblr, but they're getting rid of that. So there was another big surge of people that switched from going to Tumblr now. They're going over to MeWe, and it turns out that MeWe is something like the number one up-and-coming social media something or other. So, yeah I think we made the right choice.
It doesn't help any in the last 2 or 3 months. I mean, you and I probably had a lot, but I think in the last 2 or 3 months, their readership went from a little under 2 million to almost over 4 million. So I know probably half that traffic is coming from the Google Plus sites. There's easily 500,000 people that have come over from Google Plus, because Google Plus is a lot bigger than you think.
Oh yeah.
You don't see the numbers and the volume that they go through. But if you poke around and look at the internet stats and the number of people that have signed on to MeWe since, I think, September, October, pretty much when they announced that they were going to kill G+, we've almost doubled their readership since then. And I'm sure all of us as gamers have told every other gamer, hey, Google Plus is moving to MeWe. We're taking like 10 or 20 people with us. Some of us are taking hundreds or thousands of readers that are on our forums in Google Plus, and we're taking them over to MeWe. I know I've transplanted almost all of my boards over there. I'm just hoping that everybody stays on there and keeps signing up. Every day I've probably done 10 or 12 invitation approvals for all the different boards that I've had. I'm sure you're seeing the same thing on your Murder Hobo channel. It's just ridiculous how many people are signing on.
Yeah, slow and steady wins the race. So
yeah, right. Yeah. Well, we had talked about that before with Savage Rifts and how many people we've had listening to the show, right? Like every month that we would do a new show, or every couple of weeks, 10 more people, 20 more people. Next thing you know, we had 600 downloads or something in 1 month earlier this summer. That was our high. And that was pretty good for considering you and I are just doing this on literally, in the back room of our house.
Well, not to mention too, we're niche on top of niche. You know what I mean? Savage Worlds is by no means Dungeons and Dragons, and then Savage Rifts is by no means Savage Worlds, right?
Yeah,
so it's
we're a sliver in that pie. That's for
Oh, absolutely. Die in Odium. This is Odium. This is an adventure that Runehammer put out.
Yeah. So the last time he did this adventure, I didn't get a chance to play in it, but it was notorious for being the first TPK.
Gotcha.
Literally, everybody died in this dungeon. So I'm trying to look up something on YouTube for Runehammer off of it, and I want to say it was not. I don't think he posted it anywhere.
Oh,
I think it was just one of those live games.
Yeah, the adventure. I gotcha.
Yeah, the eyes. So let's see. On Facebook, he posted, the Eyes of Odium have claimed 3 lives. TPK tonight in his evil dungeon. Gil Sunder, Urza Ninefingers, and Oriel the Guardian were never heard from again. That was May 23rd. So it looks like the Eyes of Odium, his dungeon, has claimed another few lives, and he wants to go back and try it one more time.
Oh, man. We have been having such fun with Suede rules kicking in. Like, we've been playing Rippers. You know what Rippers is, right? Jack the Ripper and werewolves and stuff.
Rippers.
So we're in this circus comes to town. Children start dying. We're doing the investigation. We go visit this little gypsy camp outside of town, and then on the way back, we get jumped by like killer demon clowns. And there's 8 of them, and they have fan spray, and they squirt acid out of their little flowers. And oh my God, I got lambasted so bad. So much fun. But I tell you, man, I have a newfound respect for dying in game. Like it's not only that I don't even try to stop dying anymore. I've just come to the realization that it's just not realistic if I continually survive these crazy encounters. So, there comes a point at which it's like, okay, this might be it, and I got to be good with that. So, dying in game, man, don't sweat it. Let it happen, because it's
just
actually
let it happen,
funny.
Right? Yeah. You know what? One of the great things we were having this conversation, and I want to say it was you and Hanker, probably a year and a half ago. We were having the same discussion. I had said I have not had so much fun trying to kill players or die trying until I started playing ICRPG. It reminded me of the games I played as a kid when I first played the Brown Book D&D and the Red Box D&D when I was, a long time ago. Let's just put it that way. A long, long time ago when I first learned to play the game. I was going through like a character a week because back then, well, one, we didn't have no fear. Right? We're teenagers or, young kids. We would try anything. But 2, I was expecting to die. Because, when you go jumping off a cliff onto the back of a dragon, there is the chance you might miss and fall off and fall to your death. Well, that happened. And then there was, I'm going to charge the dragon and barbecue. That happened. I'm going to charge the beholder, disintegration ray, poof, dust. That happened. It's like I've seen it so many times, but there got to a point where I don't know if I got smarter or the game masters just got easier and they were more concerned about keeping you alive and keeping the story going than killing you off. And I think ICRPG has brought that back. Totally. I know they brought that back in my game.
Yeah, I can't think of a way that I haven't died in a role-playing game. Like, I just can't. You name it, I've died somehow doing
awesome.
That stuff.
That's awesome. You've lived a full gaming life then.
What, are you playing anything right now? Like, what is on your list of I'm gaming? What's happening?
So, Chimera playtests, still been happening. I've been taking a lot of notes off the games and a lot of suggestions from players and from other people who've been doing that. I think I've got about, this would be game number 7 that we've played just recently. I have an ICRPG, Savage Worlds Eberron game. Been having a lot of fun with that, but we put it on hold until the new Adventure Edition come out, and we're going to do some quick conversion rules, which brings me to a point. I need to talk to Christian Serrano to ask him if he's going to do anything with the new Adventure Edition so we can get another conversion for that one. I've been doing a little writing for the Destiny one that's taken up some time because I've been playing Destiny 2 Forsaken, and I'm addicted. I have a problem, I know. I've been playing that with my kids and just absolutely loving it. We always pick one game during the holiday season that we seem to fall to, and we've been playing Destiny 2 Forsaken, so that's right now is on the top of my list. So I've been playing a lot of that, trying to get that game going and trying to get it started. I actually think that might make a good ICRPG miniature war game because there's a lot of art. I can make some little models. I have lots of war game models and tables that I can play on. So I think that'll be something that's going to build up out of that. Trying to think, what else am I missing? I think that's all the games that I have going on. So
that's good. Sounds like you got a healthy gaming life going on there.
Yeah, it's called an addiction.
I did some ICRPG online. RPG Brewery has me running Flight of the Red Sword. You can see that played through Tabletop Simulator, all the different maps and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure I told you about Uncle J-Raz playing the priest class, and he cast the Enlarge.
Right on. Yes.
That was in there, so I've done that. My 50 Fathoms campaign is going strong on Sundays. We've also got a rotating GM kind of a thing that we've been doing now, alternate Sundays. So after every second week is the Wild Eye podcast, and so after the Wild Eye podcast, Eric runs us through this Rippers campaign, and then the following week, Matt Stark is doing Escape from Iron Gate. So I'm playing this old man that's this useless old man that's on this prison planet because he actually turns out they caught him cannibalizing his patients. Like after he would perform surgery, he might cut off a little piece of their liver. So he's Hannibal Lecter kind of a thing. So we get stuck on this prison planet, and of course I'm starving, and we start killing these bandits and stuff like that, and I'm trying to like stealthily like sneak bits of bits of food into my mouth, and I got busted doing that. So that's a lot of fun. Iron Gate's pretty fun. The Rippers campaign is top notch. And Friday last week we played Eric Lamoureux's Wise Guys. I have not had a bad game of Wise Guys. They have been fantastic. I am so stoked for this setting to come out. 90s mobsters, 80s, mid-90s mobsters. Yep. Oh my God! It's right before cell phones came out and everything sort of got, all the cameras, street cameras and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you can still kind of get away with stuff, even though you can't really get away with stuff. And he has some amazing mechanics put into the game. Like you have this mechanic called heat, and it's like a 5 fire drop kind of a thing. And your team or your party or your group, whatever you want to call it, has a heat score. And so how it works is if you just start shooting cops, man, you're at 5-alarm blaze, right? Like
exactly. Yeah, you're burning. You're on fire.
And you can't go anywhere. You literally have to go into hiding, and you're taking. Nobody wants to have anything to do with you because you're such a heat score. So it's a pretty interesting mechanic to throw into a game, especially that kind of a game where you think, mobsters, mafia guys, you're just going to be able to do whatever you want. So, but I'm telling you, man, it was so fun. We worked out the new chase rules and stuff like that. So many good things coming out of Suede and whatnot. But yeah, I've been actually pretty busy gaming up a storm too. So what little time that I do have, I've been doing that with. And then, other than that, that's about it. Well, let's put a pin in this show. Call her done. Take us out with the show notes. And Savage Rifters podcast, hopefully.
Yeah, you know what? We need to do the Savage Rifter show for sure. But I want to make sure it's the Savage Worlds Adventure Edition show. I think it'll really spark a lot more fire in all the people that are playing the game, that want to play the game. I've had a lot of people approach me online about getting back into Rifts because they saw that Savage World Adventure Edition came out. So they're learning the new Adventure Edition. Unfortunately, so am I. So I don't know, what direction to give them. And I think we could really use that show to inject some energy back into Savage Rifts and really get that started, especially because the new 3 books that are coming out are coming up right around the corner here in a couple of months. So really looking forward to that.
First quarter January, right? I got to throw out an apology to Patrick Greenlaw, Shadow Dad. I told him we were going to do Savage Rifters last week, and then we screwed up because our time zones are different.
Oh, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Arizona does not know what the heck of the rest of the country is doing, or the world. Why do you guys even bother with daylight savings time? We don't move our clocks in Arizona. Why do you guys do it?
It's too funny. So I guess you were sitting around waiting for me to show up, and then I come downstairs and I read this wall of text. Where are you? What's going on? What's happening there? Anyways, we put it together, figured it out, and we managed to make it work tonight, which is pretty good. So I think the upcoming schedule for the Murder Hobo show, considering that it is the 12th, is going to be, we're going to do a couple of ICRPG shows back to back. We're going to hang off on doing anything Savage Rifters until Victor gets a sweet handle on some of the changes and stuff like that. And then the next episode of Savage Rifters will be the next episode of Savage Rifters podcast will probably be a Suede edition, but I'm not thinking so because we're so close to the end that we should talk deluxe and just finish off the Tomorrow Player's Legion guide. There's only 2 chapters left.
I agree. Yeah, so that'll leave us like 2 sessions. We finish off the book, and then the next one after that we can talk about Adventure Edition. That'll give us some time.
Yeah, we'll give you some time to catch up and do some reading, and then I can see the gleam on your face when you're like, oh my God, they've changed the powers in such a way that you're going to be like,
I've already I've wet myself a couple times just reading through the notes that I've seen people posting about them. I'm like, oh my God, let's play a game right now. But everybody's busy trying to learn the game. It's difficult because you not only have to learn Savage World, but now you have to learn Savage World and you have to convert to Rifts. Why is Rift so hard? Why do they make it so hard to enjoy just a great game? It's like learning 2 systems all over. Anyways, you can reach us at the Murder Hobo Show at gmail.com, or we have now officially moved to MeWe and are no longer posting to the ghost town that is Google+. Murder Hobo and myself have completely dissolved ourselves from Google+, so you're going to have to look for us on MeWe. Links to the Murder Hobo Show on MeWe will be in the show notes, and you can find us and all the other great nerds at the Nerds International Show as well. Reach out directly to myself at MeWe.com/ and just look for my name. Trust me, it's not hard to do. Bullet Journals for GMs, The Savage Rifter. What else is the other ones? Red Streets and Timers. You can probably find me talking to the Murder Hobo on his own times. Worst comes to worst, look me up and hit me up as a contact, and we can start a chat that way, get you going in the right direction for all the great RPG stuff that you know us by.
Show notes.
Show notes. Yep. Check the links in the show notes.
Nice. Tune in next time. We're going to have another action-packed show. We'll be tackling more on some part of ICRPG stuff that's going on in the forums, what's new coming out. Love Hankerin and the stuff that he's doing, man. It's just a non-stop spew. What happened with the videos? YouTube has been a little slow lately. He's preoccupied doing some other stuff, taking a break.
It's his work. He's been working. He's had so many back-to-back jobs that he's been asked to do. Lots of drawings, lots of books, lots of other things that he's been trying to put together. He's got to make a living just like the rest of us doing gamer stuff. So how much better does it get? I wish I could do that for a living.
Yeah, that's it. You got to put your pen down and get back on YouTube, Hankerin. I'm tired of it.
No, keep drawing. We'll be fine.
Fantastic. All right. Peace, everybody. We're out.
See ya.
The Murder Hobo Show is not affiliated with or endorsed by any companies mentioned on this show. Any of the products mentioned on our show or appear on our website are the property and copyright of their respected owners. All items are used under fair use and education or review purposes. All other items are the intellectual property of the Murder Hobo Show, copyright 2018, all rights reserved.